2.1a, relations and functions. We're going to evaluate each function. Evaluate means, of course, find the value. So in problem number 1, what we want to do is take this number and plug it into the w function. So if you're doing this by hand, it's going to look like this, 2 times 2 minus 1. We can follow order of operations, PEMDAS, and we see that multiplication happens before subtraction. 4 minus 1 is 3. Make sure you write your answer, circle your answer, but also show your work, please. Number 3, same thing, find f of 10. All we're doing is plugging in the 10. 3 times 10 is 30, plus 2, going to give you 32. I know a lot of you are more advanced in this problem, but still, we're practicing showing our work. Number 5 is a little bit harder. We've got more operations. You're plugging in 2, so we'll have negative 3 times 2 to the third power plus 3 times 2. Notice there's 2 different variables, and we're going to plug in that 2. Order of operations says we're going to do the exponent before we do the multiplication. So we would want to do this 2 to the third power first. 2 to the third power means 2 times 2 times 2, and that's 8. So I would rewrite here. You've got negative 3 times 8, plus over here 3 times 2 is 6. So we still have some multiplication. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24, plus the 6. Negative 24 plus 6 is negative 18. Again, make sure you show your work. If you want to check your answer, feel free to use a calculator. I like to use a calculator that has parentheses on it, but I would just type in exactly what it says. Negative 3 parentheses 2. You want to take it to the third power, so that's the caret button. 3 plus 3 parentheses 2. Type it all in. Let the calculator do all the heavy lifting. And there it is, negative 18. Number 7, similar problem. Plug in 6. We've got 6 squared plus 4 times 6. Well, again, you've got an exponent, but 6 squared means 6 times 6, that's 36. 4 times 6 is 24. 36 plus 24, that's 40, 50, 60. That's 60. Again, use a calculator if you want to check your work, but make sure you show your work. Number 9 has an absolute value in it. Okay, absolute value kind of works like parentheses. So we've got absolute value of 3 times, we're plugging in this negative 5, minus 3, close your absolute value, and minus 2. So the absolute value bars act like parentheses. So let's do what's inside the parentheses first. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And we've got minus 3, negative 15 minus 3. Those are both negatives in my book. So they combine, they add together, and you get negative 18. We haven't done anything with the absolute value bars yet. Sometimes people say it makes it positive, and that's not a great way of thinking about it, but it's useful. The absolute value of negative 18 is 18. So then we have 18 minus 2, which is 16. That one's hard to check on your calculator because most calculators don't have an absolute value button. Next one, absolute value of negative 3 times negative 10 plus 2. So again, you want to do what's inside the bars because that acts like parentheses. Negative 3 times negative 10 is positive 30. Absolute value of positive 30 is positive 30. So we just have positive 30 plus 2, which equals 32. Again, I can't stress enough. Show your work. Circle your answer. 13. 4 to the 2 plus 1. Okay. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because you might want to do your exponent first, but technically these two numbers are grouped together. We don't see parentheses, but those two numbers are definitely grouped together because they're all part of the exponent. So we really have to do that first. 2 plus 1 is 3. we're going to have 4 to the third power. 4 to the third power means 4 times 4 times 4. Can't do that, then get your calculator out and do 4 caret 3. 4 to the third power, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. $15. Really, that's the same problem, isn't it? 3 to the 1 plus 2. We've got to do what's in that exponent first. Treat it like there's parentheses there. That's 3 to the third power. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Next, number 17, we've got a new set of directions that says evaluate each function and round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Okay, so round to the nearest hundredth. But we're still doing the same thing. You're plugging this number in for x. 2.4 times 7.1 plus 0.2. There's no way I'm doing that by hand. I'm absolutely going to use a calculator. So 2.4 times 7.1 plus 0.2. I'll just type it all in like that. 17.24. Remember, the direction said round to the nearest 100th, and that's what we've got. Next one, 19. Last one. 2.1 times 6.9 squared minus 1.4. Okay. So again, I'm not going to mess with doing this in my head or on paper. 6.9 squared is what I'd have to do first if I was doing it by hand. But let's use a calculator. Again, I really recommend getting one with parentheses buttons. I think it's way easier to enter stuff in. 2.1 times 6.9, close them and square it, minus 1.4. 98.581, but remember it said round to the nearest 100th, so we're going to say 98.58. You might even throw an approximately on there since we rounded. But that's it.